Hello, welcome back. I thought I would make a video about Wiktionary. And I've been a fan of Wikipedia for many years. I've learned so much from reading it, the free encyclopedia that anybody can edit. And alongside of it, there's been Wiktionary, the dictionary version of what Wikipedia is for an encyclopedia. But I have found, for many years I've found it was just too spotty. The information there was too limited, too scattered. There were too many gaps that I never turned to it as a reliable source, as a regular go-to dictionary. But now I've found that it seems to have reached a critical mass where there's enough information, there's enough that's been added in Wiktionary that I now consider it to be a very useful resource that I would recommend. So in the past, I've recommended etymonline.com as the online etymology dictionary. This is the work of one man who's put a lot of this together, of course, working with, using the work of many previous authors, but it's really assembled by a single editor. And that was resulted in, it's a very high quality project, but there's only so much that one person can do, one editor. And so it's going to be, there's kind of a cap to how far it can go. But with Wiktionary, having editors collaborating around the world, it's able to do so much more. So I finally have to say, time to pass the torch of etymology over to Wiktionary. So here, for example, I did a video a while ago about the etymology of the word book, which has this fascinating idea that it comes from the beech tree, a tree distinctive for its very smooth bark. So it seems plausible to imagine you could use it for writing, much like birch bark. And so, wow, isn't that amazing that book is named after the beech tree? And this is still a proposed theory, but it's certainly, you could say, dubious. So let's see what Wiktionary has to say. Now, type in the word. The first thing you notice is that this is not just an English dictionary. This dictionary is for all languages of the world. And that's, I think, really an amazing thing about Wiktionary. So English appears as number one, but we also have Chinese, Limburgish, Mansaka, right, Middle English, and the Bokmål variety of Norwegian. So all of these contain in some way this word that is being written as book. So here under the English section, we get pronunciation. And now we have my favorite section, etymology. And here you can go step by step through each of the stages which are linked here. So, from the modern English word book, we can go back to Middle English and then Old English, bok, and then all the way to Proto-West Germanic, which is the imagined root origin language of all the West Germanic languages, right back to Proto-Germanic, which is the root word of all the Germanic languages. And this is a solid etymology. So it's quite well attested that this word goes all the way back to the Proto-Germanic word boks. But once you get from there, you can see they don't even continue writing, well, where does boks come from? They don't go there, because that's where it becomes less clear. Right, so here you can click on boks here, and now we can see this word. It only exists in Proto-Germanic, and so or only has this entry. And now we have that dead end word in etymology where it says uncertain. Oh, okay, well, eventually when you go back far enough, you always get to uncertain. And here it's suggested that it's often linked to boko as in beach. So this would be the Proto-Indo-European origin word for beach. Or, oh no, actually a Proto-Germanic word. It's another Proto-Germanic word, which comes from the Proto-Indo-European begos, meaning beach. So this is the origin of the word meaning beach, and in various daughter languages. And so, you have Bokes, and so you could connect it to Boko. But, yeah, it's not fully convincing because, well, even though it's a nice idea to imagine writing on the smooth bark of a beech tree, there really isn't any evidence of this being a widespread practice. Okay, so here, then there's this other idea, well, maybe it's connected to this Indo-European root, which is beg, okay, meaning some kind of an allotment. Okay, so dividing, distributing, allotting. How does that mean book? Who knows? Like they can go through so many different stages as meanings change over time. But it's there was some suggestion that it might be connected to a letter, and then that of course could lead to book. But this is where you get to a dead end really in this etymology. So the beach idea is really just one possible hypothesis. And when you look at these ancient words, you can see also a list of descendants. Now this is really nice to see when you're going into the historical words, because now you have this one word in Proto-Germanic that now has all these descendants. And this is really how they reconstruct languages like Proto-Germanic, because if you look at all these Germanic languages, you see all these different words that are all very similar to this idea of Boko. Like you can see they all seem to be related words. And if you look at the details of how they vary, the different vowel, the different consonant or whatever, that they vary in regular ways that can then be traced back and say, okay, well, here is the origin language, and then here it went through these various changes in these different languages in order to get all the later forms that we see. So really one word is like a whole family, and each of these are linked, so you can go and look at any of these words. Here we have buak. Okay, so the level of linking between all these different languages that you find in Wiktionary is really quite impressive. So I encourage you to try out Wiktionary.org and just type any word in there in any language and see what you come up with. It really is a fun resource.